In this lesson, we'll begin sculpting sneer poses. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. We'll select our pose morph. Let's go ahead and add a new pose, and we'll name this sneer. Alright, so we're actually going to have 3 sneers, one for the center and then 2 for either side of the face. We're going to work on one sneer for, let's say, the right side of the face, and then I'll show you how to mirror that across. It's really neat, and we'll take care of mirroring that in the following lesson. But let's say we go back to point mode. We'll start to sculpt the sneer using our soft selection tool. We'll go back to our move tool so we can get to its settings. Now, something that I find really neat is this surface option, because that looks at the surface selection instead of the entire mesh. So what that means is now we have this wrap around the upper lip instead of the entire mouth when we start to use soft select. So I find that to be extremely helpful. We can go ahead and bring the radius to about 4 and start to create this sneer, just bringing the lip up. It looks pretty cool. Careful not to have your points get too close, because then you can get some very nasty looking pinching. So you just need to be very careful about that. So we'll start to pull these up a bit more. Then we don't want to forget about the skin around the nose. So we can go in and do the same, just kind of pull that up a bit. And then to create more of that flesh pocket, let's go ahead and bring our radius down to about 2. We can start to pull these points out. Great. Go ahead and do this again for points at the outer part of the cheek. And then we can go to these points directly underneath and pull those up a bit more, just a little bit. It might even decrease the radius to 1. Go to the points directly above and then kind of drop those. And now, if we were to take a look at this, you can see we have this really neat looking sneer. Great. Now for tougher areas, if you find that it's kind of difficult to sculpt the upper lip with the lower lip in the way, remember you could always hide polys. We may need to do that for a few expressions. But I'd say right now this looks really nice. Let's go ahead and test it out by going back to our morph tag. Great. I'd say if anything, we might go in and just raise a few points a bit higher to finish this up. So with these same few points selected, going back to the move tool, let's go ahead and increase our radius to 3. And just go ahead and lift those points up, including the ones right on the outside of the nostrils. I might turn off surface to do that so we can get part of the nose lifting up a bit more here. And now when we take a look at this, we should notice a better sneer. Much better. Alright, so let's go ahead and work on a sneer for the right side, and then I'll show you how to mirror that in the next lesson. So we'll create another pose. We're going to name this R_sneer. Selecting the face, we'll go back to point mode and start to sculpt this out. So with this point selected, we can go back to our soft selection settings and set this back to surface. Start to lift this up. Very cool. Already that's starting to look fun. Now the rest of this process is the same. We just want to go in and kind of lift the nose up a bit, go to the flesh here and start to maybe pull it out a bit more. I might go ahead and drop the radius to let's say 1 here. So pull that out a bit more. Okay, great. Then I might even turn off soft selection just so we can get a nice little fold in the skin during this sneer. And now we can go ahead and test this out. We'll go back to our post morph. All right, great. So we now have created a new sneer for the right side of the face. Let's go ahead and stop the lesson here, and in the next lesson we will learn how to mirror our poses.